Hello. Hey, what's up, Mayoa? Thanks for joining. How you doing, Miwa? Hello, Ayo. What's up, babe? Tao. Waiting for Dr. Menakaya to join us, and then we can get started. What? Hello, Deji Alarm. How you doing? Long time no see. Um, Sorry, I'm typing with our guest for she's having issues with her phone. Okay. So I guess it's here, but she's having issues with her phone, so it's gonna be a late start. But I'd like to hear from, wow, the 5 people watching. Well, how's your day been? How's your weekend been? Just put it on the comment and I can read that out so we can talk a little bit before the guest comes in. Chi, how you doing? Mr. Shola doing now? Nice to see you here. Waiting for my guest. And then the awkward thing about Facebook Live is you have you have your audience. I can see like 6 of you are watching. Thank you. That way it doesn't seem like I'm talking to myself. But then if your guest isn't there yet, it's very awkward because you're trying to talk and make small talk with people, and then it becomes more awkward, and then you're trying to lose your cool because you have to smile for the camera and pretend like you got it all together. Well, meanwhile, inside you're freaking out. But I think the thing is, once you've done this before, you kind of get a hang of it. You're like, you know what? Not gonna be that bothered about it. Yeah, walk, walk, walk. I'm singing now with Rihanna's song. Walk, 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 walk. Yeah. Well, nice to hear back from you too, Dr. Adedepo Taiwo, aka the husband. All right. While we wait for. Oh, thanks. Thanks. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your kind words. Yeah, I won't freak out. I'm not freaking out. I'm relaxed. Okay. Don't panic. Talking to the guest because I'm chatting with her on WhatsApp. Just trying to get her a phone to come on. So the thing is, if you use a laptop for a Facebook Live, you're not going to be added as a guest. Nope. Cannot add you yet. Oh yeah, there she is. Hey, wait for it. She's almost here. She's almost here. To me, no, you're to me. Ojore. Ah, Tojo Meka. Hello.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can I show you something? I've got a computer. I've got 2 phones on here. Everything's on at the same time.
It's okay. See,
so sorry.
I'm like you. I'll freak out as well, but don't worry. Like I said, I've done this before, and it doesn't help to panic because you're not gonna be productive when you panic.
I'm so sorry, my darling. Do you know what happened? I don't have Facebook app on my phone. Yeah.
Why?
I didn't realize that I needed to have an app. Luckily, my cousin is.
Are you on Facebook rehab or something? Are you in rehab for Facebook or something?
No, I'm not. I didn't realize I didn't have the app. I always thought I had the app. Now I'm trying to add you on with on Safari or something, and it's saying no, I can't add you on. I'm like, oh my Lord, this is so not me. I'm always early for most things sometimes. I'm sorry I'm late.
It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. I mean, like I said, this has happened before, and just learning through the process. So, but I'm really glad to have you on the show.
I'm so glad to be on the show. This is weird. I've never done Facebook Live before.
Is this your first time doing Facebook Live?
Yes, it is.
Wow, I'm always getting the Facebook Live versions. Really nice.
Yes,
anyways,
I've never done it before, so it's weird for me. So I'm like, oh God, everyone see me on Facebook.
You look camera good, and you look good as well. Not just for the camera, but you look really good.
Oh,
so.
Thank you. I try to make an effort a little bit. Thank you.
If I don't want to scramble this, but another thing you can do on the side is to maybe tell your contacts to join as well, so we can have.
How do you do that? Do you say it's on here?
You can just say it on there, or maybe share it on your page. Share the video on your page and say, "Come join us." Yeah.
So I have to log in with my computer now and share it, right?
Are you gonna go away?
No, I'm here. My computer.
My computer. I have attachment issues.
You don't see my computer. It sits with me all the time.
Oh yeah. So just copy in and say you're gonna be there, and yeah, then we can go from there.
Okay, cool. Just
All right.
copy and
Well,
paste.
while you're trying to do that, we can talk on the side while we're talking. So, like I said, nice to have you on the show. For those listening for the first time, this is part of the More Sibyl podcast initiative, and it's a podcast about culture and cultural nomads designed for Blacks and Asians and those who love them. I have more than 26 episodes on my website. I've featured a lot of people, talked about so many stories. So go on www.mostsibyl.com, and I'm gonna put that link on the comment so you can go there, find out more about the show, find out more about me. My name is Mo. Like I said, I describe myself as a Nigerian born, US educated, Korean speaking, struggling intellectual. And so the Facebook Live is just like an offshoot of the weekly podcast that I host on Tuesdays. And for this one, this is actually my fourth guest of doing this together with me. So I'm really happy to have you. But before we go into all of that, how you doing today, by the way?
I'm having such a terrific time, apart from my Facebook driver, but that's better now. I'm having a really good time today. Thank you.
Okay.
And I feel really privileged to be here. Thank you so much.
Nice. Oh no, the honor is really mine. Seriously, I'm really stoked to share your story. Before we go into just what we want to talk about today, I'd like for us to do something I haven't done with a guest before, so you're gonna be the first person doing it.
Okay.
And I feel like because you can handle it, that's how I'm gonna do this. So let's do what we call roses and thorns.
Okay.
So roses and thorns is what I do with my friends sometimes. Sometimes my friends don't like it, sometimes I like it. So I'm gonna say, what was the best part of your day? Of your week, sorry, and what was the not so fancy part of your week? So roses would be the good thing that happened this week, and then thorns would be the things you don't like.
Okay, what was the good thing that happened this week? Okay, I always say that every day is like a blessing, but I think the best thing I had this week was today actually happened. I took my cousin to the post office. And I had this interview with Pride magazine. Pride magazine is like a top UK Black African magazine, and so African Caribbeans, everyone magazine. And they said to me that they were going to let me know if they're going to publish it or not. And then I opened the page and I saw my picture on it. That was awesome. It's so excited. So I'm like sending it to everybody. I'm like, oh God, this is so exciting. And I'm like, I think for me, it's just the humility. And I'm like, oh my Lord, I cannot believe this. Yeah. They're spreading our word. What was bad that happened to me this week? What bad happened to me this week? Let me think. What was really bad that happened this week that made me sad? Oh, yeah. Something bad happened this week. So basically, I think what was bad that happened this week was I had an appointment that I had to get to, but then you know how clinics can overrun sometimes, right? And I ended up being late to an appointment this week. That was really terrible because it then meant I had to reschedule it, so I couldn't make it. And I think that was terrible because I had been waiting for this doctor's appointment for a really long time. And now I have to reschedule it. And then you're like, everyone thinks like, well, you're the doctor. You're supposed to know that you should get there on time, right? But then it's not because you had to do anything. It's just because work wouldn't let you get there on time. So I guess it's good and bad at the same time. What else was not good this week? Okay, yeah, I have to confess. I'm supposed to be on a diet because I'm trying to lose weight. Yeah. Monday I did very well. Monday I did very
well. Story of my life. Hashtag. Not funny. But please go ahead. Please.
That is so bad. So Monday I did really well. I juiced the whole day. Then then on Tuesday I was in theater. So I juiced and juiced. And when I came back in the evening, I'm like, God, I really need to eat jollof rice. To cross about jollof rice, right? And I said, okay, I'm only going to eat this jollof rice for today, and I'm not going to eat it tomorrow. And to be honest with you, this morning I had jollof rice again, so I'm guilty. Oh, God, that was terrible.
I mean, women, I think the average woman is always on a diet. We're always on a diet. Like, I don't know why we do that to ourselves. I don't know why. Well, congratulations on your article being published on there. Yay!
That was exciting.
And and good luck with your diet. Let me know how it goes.
Okay, next week. What's up here saying, God, I broke it again. But how to keep going, right? It's not how many times you fall, but it's how much you just get up and keep going, I think. That's a positive energy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's what I'm going to do. Next week, I'll start again, I promise.
That's it. Like, you fail it one time, you try again. Let me share my roses and thorns, because you've shared yours. Let me share mine. And my roses and thorns are intertwined, but I'll start with the thorns. So, Myself and my ovaries, we have a very complicated relationship. So my doctor told this story for
I like
another
that.
day. My doctor put me on this monthly injection to kind of help with stuff, and my goodness, the side effects are like driving me crazy.
Oh no.
And the two things that I realized from it, as a healthcare provider, like when I used to interact with patients, it never does when you just the magnitude of some side effects. Like the textbook side effects, and when you're talking to your patients about, oh, this might happen to you, you talk about it like it's a probabilistic event, like it might not really happen to you.
Mm.
And then when you have to eat your humble pie, when that happens to you as a caregiver, you're supposed to pay attention more. My goodness, let me count the ways this thing affects me. Bone pain, just
Oh,
my mind just
that's
goes,
a
I'm not lucid all the time.
mm.
I'm just generalized fatigue. Like true story. And then everywhere is dry. Like think about what could possibly go dry around you as a female. Everywhere is dry. And I think this is almost TMI. I might get a call from my mother soon, but anyways, she might say, why are you sharing that on Facebook? So and then the cherry on the top, as if that wasn't enough, is the hot flashes.
Oh no.
At night. Like my AC will be cranked down to like 60 degrees. My duvet will be cold, like you can feel the pillows everywhere cold. And I'll be breaking out into sweats, and I'll be so like hot and tired. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I texted one of my girlfriends. I'm like, I've seen the future. Because one of the side effects is you have this premenopausal syndrome. So I'm like, I have seen the future. It's not looking good for us as far as menopause is concerned. Hug your lady parts really tight and stop complaining about getting your period anymore. It's not looking good. My goodness. So that was the fun part of the week. So I decided to just do something about it. So now I'm doing yoga, and it's really helping me.
So you're not taking the meds anymore? You're not taking the medicines anymore? You're not taking the medicines?
I am, because it's a monthly injection. I just took in the last one. I'm supposed to be on it for 3 months, and then they'll evaluate some stuff and see. But I'm doing well on it. It's just that the side effects are just driving me crazy. So I started doing yoga like last week, and my goodness, like for the first time, I can see how yoga can help you with your mind. Like before, I used to dismiss like yoga, just stretching and doing all of that. So yeah, you guys, I'm part of the yoga club. I'm not gonna be posting about yoga and tree hugging and all of that, but so far so good. It's been helping my mind. So, anyways, that's that. Thanks for sharing yours. And
how do you relax in yoga? Because I find it, I've gone to like maybe 2 yoga classes in my life, right? And when they say take a deep breath, relax, take your mind up, I'm thinking, oh, I have to do this. Oh,
you know what?
How do you get to relax though?
I'm with you. I don't do meditation. Like you tell me to close my eyes and imagine walking on the beach. I'm gonna be thinking of the sand. I'm gonna think of the shower I have to have afterwards to get rid of sand that gets everywhere, part of your body. Like meditation stresses me out. But this is what I say. Like you have to find a way that works for you and modify the positions. The first yoga class I went to was very slow. Like I was high, like I was so relaxed. Afterwards, I wanted to just slip off on my mat. Like it was that good. And I may also suggest hot yoga, like in a very hot room, because I think that kind of helps with the relaxation. Okay. Just take it that time. I don't get all the steps all the time. Sometimes they tell me to do all of that. I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that. But I'm just trying my best, and I want to keep going. And then so it becomes like second nature, because I can see that helping my mind a lot. That's that.
I want to try.
But give it a try. Just try. Be very skeptical. I'm still skeptical. If I told the person, I have a shirt that says yoga stresses me out. That's a shirt I wear to class. And I told them, I'm like, this is not a territory that I'm very comfortable exploring. But how can you help me? And they love me as so new and nice, because they want to just, yoga you up, whatever that word means. So let's just talk about how we met. I don't know if I should call you Dr. Menakaya or Dr. Chichi, or just how do you want me to address you?
There's no doctor.
I want to put some respect in.
No.
I like Chichi because it's so endearing.
Yeah,
I like Chichi. Okay. So I met Chichi through a mutual friend, and I don't know you don't know this part, so I'm going to say it for the first time because you don't know this part. So when that mutual friend introduced us, and we got talking, after chatting with you and after we had that conversation, I went back to him. I was like, hey, oh my goodness, I love her. She reminds me so much of me. And, I want to bring her on the show. And then he was like, I wanted you to discover that on your own. I was like, damn, he knew that. And what that communicated to me, in the past, I've had friends like want to introduce me to their friends, and it doesn't work out because they build you up such a way that, oh, you're going to love this person. And then you meet that person, it's kind of like anticlimactic, like, we didn't get along. And then you really feel like you owe that friend a favor to get along with their friend. But I like that he just let it be. He was like, just meet this person And, and that was really, really nice. So, and I think for someone like me, I don't think that's the same for everybody because I'm still trying to get to know myself. And another thing I want to say, I'm very thankful when friends introduce me to their friends because it speaks that they trust me to, treat their friends really nice. So maybe just people just saying, just meet this person. Don't say anything about me. Don't say anything about the person. Don't, hype me. Don't hype the person. So we can just naturally find out how we meet. So anyways, thank you, Buchi. He's actually here. Thank you so much, Buchi, for making an introduction.
Buchi on the thing. Oh, yeah, it's Buchi.
Oh, he's there. He said he wasn't going to miss it. I knew he was going to be there.
I can see who is on and who is not on. I can see.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do that lengthy introduction of you. So welcome everyone to the show. This is Dr. Chichi Menakaya. She's a graduate of the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, and she currently works as a trauma and orthopedic surgeon in the United Kingdom. Cause, for effect, she has won awards for her contributions towards better healthcare provisions worldwide. She leads generational change and she has spoken in over 30 international meetings, numerous local and national conferences with over 20 cited publications. She serves on boards of different charities, all geared towards generational change. She has a passion for gender-based violence and gender equality. And that led her to found a UK-based charity called Okwuí Mask Scheme, and we're going to explore that. Her brainchild works in both Nigeria and the United Kingdom, which is the gap between victim mentality and survivor's attitude, by means of self-love and understanding the core basics of violence, while discovering the power within each of us. She's also the CEO of Anormal Health, a luxury healthcare concierge based in the UK, which provides bespoke services to international patients by connecting them to top medical specialists and services worldwide. In her spare time, she enjoys fashion designing, and her fashion line, Okwuí Centric, celebrates African culture while raising money for business ventures for grassroots domestic violence survivors in Nigeria, West Africa, through several initiatives. She has worn and continues to wear different hats in her life. She's a surgeon, she's a collaborator, educator, mentor, founder, volunteer, leader, and team player. As a result, she has the unique ability to manage multidisciplinary projects, people, and also navigate complex challenges. She loves music, she loves traveling, and she loves writing. Whew. That took me about 3 minutes. Everyone join me in welcoming Dr. Menakaya, aka Chichi, to the show. My goodness. Congratulations on all of your success. You deserve accolades.
Oh, thank you so much.
So let's just start. Let's start with the basics. You grew up in Nigeria, right?
Yes, I did.
So what was that like for you growing up in Nigeria? And what part of Nigeria did you grow up in?
So I grew up in Onitsha. That's in southeast Nigeria, right? And across the Niger, across the bridge. Then the later part of my life, when I went to uni, I went to Ibadan. So I always say to myself, I've been to different parts of Nigeria. So I'm a little bit multicultural. And then I also lived in Abuja a little bit, yeah? For me, Nigeria is like, I always say to everyone, Nigeria is the best part of my life and it's the best part of my story. Because it was fun growing up. What? Do you know things?
I said amen. I believe that, yeah.
I was a proud Nigerian. It was really fun because I think the part I liked most about Nigeria was just being you know, I remember as a kid in Onitsha, we could walk everywhere we wanted to. We played different games, you know, you do different things. There are things called swirl where you draw lines on the floor and you're jumping up and down, and there are different games that you could play. And funny enough, what Buchi didn't tell you is I've known Buchi since I was in high school or even earlier. Because he also grew up in Onitsha, and we used to do like lessons together where we all did competitions about who was going to like do better in school and different things. So for me, memories of Nigeria and even like being in Onitsha is always like my fun memories, and they're like the best part of it all. Obviously, living in the UK is also amazing because that's like my second home. But Nigeria, I think, is always going to be my first love and the first love of my heart. Really, I love Nigeria. That's the honest truth. So much. Wow. So it was fun growing up there. Really.
So what inspired your decision to study medicine?
My medicine. So I come from a medical family, right? But that wasn't my reason. So when I was a kid, I think the first career I ever thought I was going to do was I wanted to be a pilot. Yeah, that's where I started out. Before I got
really,
yeah, I wanted to fly planes. For one reason, I love traveling. I'm someone that loves traveling. I hate the whole plane bit, but I love traveling. But then I remember my mom saying to me, "Sorry."
No, I said me too. Sorry, go ahead.
So I remember my mom saying to me, she was really petrified. God, my daughter's going to be a pilot. Oh, she's going to crash. And those days where they had a lot of plane crashes. So I remember one day when I was about maybe like 10 or something. And then there was Bob TV. Do you remember Bob TV? Like the first satellite dish that was massive that they used to have in Nigeria.
Oh, yeah.
So he then showed me this thing about how pilots like all like crash and different things. So I got petrified. I said, okay, I'm not going to be a pilot now. I then wanted to be an automobile engineer. That was the next thing, because I wanted to build cars, because I've always loved Lego, right? I like building things all the time. That's me. I love building new things and recreating things. And then when I was about 12, I was unwell for some time. So I had like what everyone calls typhoid fever, but it's like really severe malaria. And at that point, I started interacting more with doctors. Although I come from, my father's a doctor and I have a lot of medical doctors in my family, but I wasn't like really keen about medicine. But I think by the time I had been in hospital for some time, they took care of me. I then woke up one day and said to myself, honestly, I just woke up randomly and I said, listen, I want to be a doctor. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for me, what really intrigued me was I wanted to be like a trauma surgeon, only because you know how we had really bad roads in Nigeria and there were loads of like really horrible injuries. And I said, yeah, I want to be a trauma surgeon. But then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So at some point I read about cardiothoracic, and I said, oh, that sounds like the most important bit of it all, right? So I want to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. That's how I started out my medicine, and that's why I went to medical school. Was because I had been unwell and I was treated, and I felt like, oh God, I've got to give back now. So that's why I decided, okay, yeah, I'll do medicine. And that was it.
Wow, thank you for that. Thank you for that. So you went to UI, studied, MBBS in UI, and then what was your pathway to the UK like, and how long have you been in the UK?
So I've been in the UK now. This will be my 2006, so now this will be my 12th year. My pathway was entirely different from every other person's pathway. So I went from medical school. I finished medical school in June 2006. I moved to the UK. I moved back to the UK in July, because we used to live half in the UK, half in Nigeria, because my mom used to live in the UK. Towards by the time I was finishing university, and once I moved back, I started working in the UK August the next year. So I didn't actually work in Nigeria at all. But then my path was a little bit different, because most people will come in and have to do the exams. That's the PAB exams. Yeah. And then they will then do a clinical attachment somewhere, and then they'll get a job, right? And then they apply for a job, because you needed to have your PLAB to get GMC registration. GMC is like the General Medical Council registration to be able to work. But when I came into the country in July, they were doing like applications to the normal system for the home students, right? And someone said to me, oh no, you can't really apply because you haven't done PLAB. But I'm someone that I don't actually hear no's and can'ts and you can't do this, you can't do that. For me, those things don't apply to me. I just say, oh, you can't. Wow, I'll just kick off the T and it turns into a can't. So I can do anything I want to do, right? And then so basically I sat down with my mom and I said to her, listen, everyone's saying you can't do this, but that means that by the time I did it, it was too late for me. I had to lose a year. So she said to me, listen, babes, let's just write a letter to these people and ask them if I'm eligible to apply for a job. So I wrote a letter to, it was called, I think, Intrepid at that time. And I said to them, I've just moved in or whatever. And they said to me, listen, you are eligible to apply for a job, right? So I did the normal application like the home students will apply through the internet, right? And then in February, I got an offer for a job and I hadn't even done PLAB by then. By the time I applied, I hadn't done PLAB. So I got the job offer like 1 week in February. The next week I got my PLAB results. I said I had passed the first PLAB, which then made me really stressed out, because I then had to pass the second PLAB before May, because we did they did something called consolidation, which is like attachment, but it's done from their medical school towards transitioning into being a doctor. So I then had to like sit down on the computer. There I got my PLAB result, looking for second PLAB to register for, because if I didn't do that, then I'll lose my opportunity of having a job. And that's how I did the PLAB in April. And then when I did that one in April, by May, I was doing consolidation already. And in August, I had started working. So I didn't have to do the same parts everyone else did, because for some reason, I just said, okay, I'll write to them and see what they said. And I did. And they said, yes, you can apply. And that was it. So I said, maybe, was it like luck? Or maybe it was just persistent? I don't know. That was just how it happened.
Determination. And some elbow grease as well.
Oh, no, not really. I think it was just like, I'm not listening to what they're saying. Let me try to let them tell me no, And that was what happened.
The power of no. When someone tells you no, you're like, I'm going to do it just to prove you wrong. Yeah.
You just have to prove them wrong. Why should they be no? Why?
Yeah.
I always say, you've got to keep doing what you think is best for you. And that's the truth. And that's how it happened for me. And I was just, maybe I was like lucky, or that's the path I've been set to. And that was what happened. And for that, I'm really grateful. And I think a lot of it also has to do with faith and, trusting God to actually deliver for you. And for me, I felt like it was just God's path for me at that time. And that's how it worked. And obviously I had someone that constantly encouraged me and sat down and did the applications with me. And that's how I got to that point.
Thank you for that. I think the big thing I took away from there was, people can tell you no, but don't let that discourage you. Stay focused on what you're trying to accomplish and then go for it.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good. Which kind of reminds me, when I did in secondary school, when you're crossing from junior secondary 3, this is just S3 to SS1, you have to go see the guidance and counseling unit person. And then they'll give you some assessment tests. They will put you either into science class or commercial class or art class. And I had this counselor then, and so in my juniors in GSS 1 to 3, I wasn't very serious. I was very smart, but I just wasn't. I was carried away, being away from home in a boarding house. So I was playing a lot. I wasn't like optimal in my grades. I was just average, but I knew I could do better. And then the assessment was like I was borderline science. I needed to be kicked to commercial class. So I had to go. I don't know how I did it, but I had to go get a special letter exempting me from some commercial class because I knew I wanted to do science. And here I am today. How many years later? So, yeah, don't let what people tell you just bring you down. Sometimes, like you have to like determine what you really want to do and go for it, even in the eyes of no. Sometimes you need to hear no's if it's really like something you're not supposed to be doing anyways. But learn to discern when people don't really know what your goal is and they're trying to hold you back versus they're telling you no because it's really good for you to hear no. So thanks for sharing that. So now you will work as like a surgeon. Like,
Yes.
man, I want to just imagine how difficult that would be. But before we go into your profession, what would you say was the hardest adjustment for you to what was the hardest adjustment to make while you moved to the UK? And I know you talked about what was the last till of your medical degree. You were shuffling between Nigeria and UK, right? But when you finally, relocated to the UK, what was the hardest adjustment you had to make as far as, maybe cultural adjustments or just, being in a totally different place for the first time that you know that you're not going to go to Nigeria as often as you used to before?
I think for me, one was the weather. God, the winter used to just kill me. I used to have like 20 layers of cardigans, yeah. And I'm someone that is even cold in Nigeria. So it was like I used to walk around looking like an Eskimo, someone that's come out of some land or something, right? Then I think the
Yeah.
other bit is like also for me as African, we're very, I don't know how to explain, we're very bold people normally. So sometimes I think I struggled a little bit sometimes. So people sometimes see your boldness as borderline rude or borderline aggressive. And I think that's one bit that I really struggled with initially because I'm like, no, I don't want to do this, right? Why should someone say to me to do something different? And you're like being vocal and it's a little bit like difficult. And then I'll say to some people, no matter what anyone says to you, when you walk into a room and you're a black person, and obviously if you're a girl, then it's somehow people are already biased about what they expect from you. And I think the part I also struggled with initially was trying to get people to actually understand or believe in the fact that you're as good as they are, right? Or even better. And that was something you have to at some point adjust to, because at every point everyone's like looking at you with one eye and saying, oh, can I trust this person? Can I trust what they're doing? And I think that was it. I think it was the weather. It was learning to be more what was it, learning to be rude in a polite way, right? And being like culturally polite, and also just getting people to like trust you more. That's for me, that was a big bit that I had to overcome.
Oh, wow. Thanks for sharing that. That's totally very relatable. So now, I mean, you do so many things. Just looking at this is not even your CV. This is just like a short synopsis of your life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, you
Okay,
need to learn how
restless
to accept
spirit.
compliments. Okay, I know it's hard for people like us to accept compliments, but you need to learn to accept compliments. Really,
I
you
just
have
have a
such an
restless
impressive,
spirit. What?
you have such an impressive repertoire. You've done a lot, and I'm gonna, pivot a little bit to talk about your initiative, which is gender-based violence and gender equality. What started that? How long have you started it? And what is your initiative about, really?
So initially we started this right, informally. So I have a best friend called Carol, and when we were in university in Ibadan, we used to do this silly things where we just got people together. Like people have relationship problems, we sit down, we talk to them, and we try to get people to like get more confident and do what they need to do. And she used to laugh at me and say, "Oh, you're just mommy ayo, you're mommy ayo," and that's what she used to call me. And we used to laugh about it because I love listening to people's like issues and trying to like work it out. And for me also, it
Yeah.
really helped me because when I had issues, I had people to talk to and we worked it out together. Because when people say, "Oh, you've done all these things," I say to them, "I'm not doing it on my own. I have like a massive team of people that I work with, so it's all of us doing it together." Then I think eventually when I then left medical school, or when we're more into like medicine, when you go to because you go from the university to the medical school, it petered down a little bit. We had a few more people, maybe a few close friends that we will talk to, even then within ourselves, we just bantered about relationships and different things. And for us, it was about saying, you know, you're in a relationship, you've got to be happy, you've got to do the right thing. But for me also, I also came from a background where I had seen friends that were really close to their families destroyed by domestic violence, or not really rape, but domestic violence really had destroyed people I had grown up with. So by the time I was 18, I knew so many people that were like coming out of this situation. And I always say they're survivors because they're not like victims, because really you've survived this really bad crime to still be here. So when I moved to the UK, I then started reconnecting with a lot of people I grew up with, yeah? And the story was just the same. Like, you know, people, because there's like a lot of cultural difference in the UK, there's a lot of like, not just physical violence, because people always think, you know, domestic violence is physical violence. It's all about the psychology, you know, financial, different things. And for me, I just started like, you know, we try and support them. If there's a problem, we all rally around, we help pay bills, we help do different things. And then, again, for me, if I digress a little bit, FGM was a big issue for me, because in medical school, even Buchi will say, tell you, we did a project on gender-based violence in local market people in Ibadan to get the perspective about it. And a lot of people were talking about how, you know, it's culturally right. This is what we do for our culture. And I just used to say to myself, why would a culture really cause someone physical harm? So it's either people are interpreting the culture, or the culture has been put in place to make people so it can't be really right. So I remember my second year in as a doctor in this country, I was doing obs and gynecology, and we had a patient who was a victim of FGM, right? And none of
that female genital mutilation, right?
That female genital mutilation, like cotton or female cotton, right? Yeah. And basically, none of the doctors had seen this, because I used to work in somewhere outside Manchester, which is like somewhere not rural, it's a little bit town, but it's out of like London. London's got like a very big cosmopolitan society. And it was like a big deal because nobody knew what it was all about. So we did like a case report about it. We took it to like women in medicine. Everybody was talking about it, right? And so for me, it's like, why are people still saying it's culture that's causing problems? Then I'll rewind to like people that we're working with who were living in violence in this country. Like everyone thinks, you know, the UK, there's a problem, you just call the police. It's not that easy. Because someone there is saying to you, oh boy, yeah, your mother calls you and says to you, yeah, but why would you do that? African people, we don't call police for our husbands, oh, yeah? And then we sit down and we watch till somebody gets killed. And then all of us will like wear blacks, wear t-shirts, put our face and cry like nothing ever happened. And that was it for me. And then, so what I started doing was at work, I will get women together. So I'm chatting with you like, you know, like I meet you now more and we're gisting, and then I start talking to you about, you know, what do you think about domestic violence? And then it ends up being that you know someone that knows someone that knows someone, and it's like a chain reaction, right? And then one lady that I used to work with, that was about 3 years ago, said to me one day, she was like, Chichi, you're doing this for this set of people, and this has really helped me. And she herself is a survivor of a domestic relationship in her parenthood, so she had developed mental health issues related to this. And she said to me, why can't we help more people? And that's when we decided that we'll take it out there and make it into a proper organization. And actually, initially, we said, okay, we'll start out with ethnic minority, because I understand we've got cultural issues, because we're worried about the stigma of a broken marriage. We're worried about the stigma of not following culture. Yeah. And different, and what will people say? And these women, I keep saying to people, everyone thinks domestic violence women are like dejected, non-educated. They're women like me and you. We're all like, you know. And then people say to me, oh, have you been a victim? And I say, like, why? How can I not be a victim, right? You walk out on the streets and some boy tries to steal your bag here, and then maybe while he's trying to do it, he pushes you down, so you break a bone or something, you end up having surgery. Then you do like a root cause analysis and realize that this boy is a product of domestic violence who has been in a home in the UK, different places, and then automatically I become a victim, right? Because that is the sequel of what happens. And that's just, we just said, listen, you sit down, you watch this go wrong, and you're like, I've had enough of this. I need to like do more. And that's why we sat down and said, listen, we're going to do more. We're going to try and help more people. We're going to try and, instead of sitting down and crying with survivors, rebuild them and say, you've survived this. They tried to break you. They couldn't break you. You're unbreakable. How'd you get to the next level? And that's the reason why we're where we are now. That's why it all started. And then we started out calling it Okwuí Mask Scheme, because it's actually, I started with my mom, my sister, and myself, right? And then my friend from years ago. And Okwuí means, for my mother's name, which means Okwuchukwu. And Okwuchukwu means the word of God, right? So it was about the word. And then we talked about the mask, because I always say, I can be so beautifully dressed, wearing makeup, different things, but unless I actually go within you to find out what's going around, then I will never know if you're also a survivor yourself, because all of us just wear masks around where we all look right nice, and then it's till you dig deep inside that you actually see. So the whole idea is bringing the word behind the mask to the world and actually making a difference. That's the whole idea why it's called Okwuí Mask Scheme.
I like that. And I did go on your website. I saw that you guys do auctions and you have people like actually wear masks. You get dressed up, and how many years now have you been doing this?
3 years now officially. But then we started it when I was in Ibadan. That was from 1999 till today.
With that research project you told me about, right?
Yes. No, the research project I did in 2001. I did the research project, the FGM one, but that was for my project, my public health project, with the rest of my class.
Keep it up. If there's any way the show we can partner with you to bring more awareness here, I'm more than happy to get on board, because something I support. You've really touched on something that is really bothersome to me, and I see it happen around here. I mean, I have friends that talk to me, and there's this helplessness that I can confess that it comes, that I can't do anything about it. Because what I would like to do about it will be something that might tear the marriage apart. Like, I could just call the cops and report it, but then you can understand that the girl doesn't want to call the cops. And then you are the person they call, and they tell you, and you have to, hold their hands over the phone, because usually they're not in person with me. And you have to listen to everything that's happened. And sometimes they have kids involved where, the husband is hitting the kids as well, and hitting the wife in front of the kids. And I hear this and I'm like, I really don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. Like, because I'm someone, like, if you tell me something, I want to fix it. I want to fix it because that's what you're trying to tell me. So in cases like that where you've explored the issue of getting cops involved, or even, separating for a while, or sometimes they'll tell you that parents can't even do much about it. They'll be like, well, is he providing for you? Then stay. How do you help this kind of people?
So I'm going to be honest with you more, right? This is very difficult to do, right? And to be honest with you, it's easy for us. If you're not in this marriage or you're not in that relationship, it's very easy for us to say, call the police. It's very easy for us to say, leave the marriage, right? I always say to people that we meet that in those situations, what do you think is best for you? And people come up with this and say, oh, it's the children, right? I'm standing for the children. And I've seen people that children have been born out of domestic violence, right? Who have mental health issues, who have committed suicide, who have who have confidence issues. So I say to them, you're not staying because of the child. You cannot use your child as a benchmark of why you're here. You've got to use your own needs as a benchmark. So sometimes what we say to those people is we give them the right help that they need to have. I will never say to someone, go call the police, unless I think they're like, I don't know. Sometimes I have said to people, listen, you've got to call the police. This guy's just going to kill you, right? But I think what we as workers with domestic violence, people in domestic violence should do is support them and listen to what the woman wants. Yeah, that's one. Two, if you think there's a safety issue, then it's your responsibility to call for help. Like if you knew like the kids have been bitten, this man has been bitten, because everyone says, oh yeah, but maybe he pushed me small. But it's not like pushing you small, because pushing you means you could trip and hit a table and then you die. Then that's a serious issue. Then we're all going to gather around and say, oh yeah, I didn't want to say anything. Why would I say anything, right? And unfortunately, I say to them, if I think you're in danger, I will call for help for you, right? But sometimes they're like, oh, don't get involved. They'll stop ringing. I've had situations where people that we've helped in the past will stop contacting you, stop ringing. But what I always do, I'll still direct message and say, I really love you. If you need help, please call me. Yeah, but I think it's a bad situation. And what I think is a question we all need to answer as women, not just as women, because I also work with a lot of male survivors of domestic violence also in the UK. And I say to them, what we need to ask them is, what does she want? What does he want? Right? And that's why I'm thinking that where we should start with is actually letting people even know that they live in violence. Because we're talking about the physical violence. What happens to psychological, sexual, financial, religious violence, spiritual, where people don't actually realize that there's different phases violence wears and they don't see it. Yeah? Because if I sit down and talk to you for like an hour, you wake up and say, wow, that relationship was a little bit violent. I didn't even know about it. And even me as a person, I'm sure I've been in relationships when I don't realize that there's a lot of like psychological abuse or emotional or whatever abuse, and I haven't seen it. I think what we need to do as people is just support them. That's all I think we can do.
Yeah.
Support them.
Yeah.
Support and
I
support
agree
and
with
support.
that. I agree
And
with
then
that. I think
work
asking
on
them what they
people's
really want.
attitude. Yeah. Support and support and support. That's all you can do. But when you think that their life is at risk, I think it's your primary responsibility and your civic duty to seek for help for them. And even if they wouldn't, like sometimes we do this events where we get different people. So not just the survivors, but also products of survivors, because I have women and men that have lived in violence. So they realize the damage is done to them, and they actually speak to people so that people realize the type of help they need to seek, right? But I think it's very difficult for us as individuals to actually force that person to dial the police. It's hard. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's extremely, extremely difficult to do that. And then people will say to you, wow, oh, you're calling the police to my husband, right? You're the marriage breaker. But you're not breaking their marriage. You're just saving them, right? But then again, you have to do what they want. Yeah, you can't impose things on them. You just have to work with them. That's all you can do.
I mean, you're right. I think you can only help people as much as they want to be helped. And I guess one of our listeners, Onye Chukwunyerema, said, the worst form of domestic violence is the emotional kind. That there are no physical scars on your body, on his or her body, doesn't mean they're not being abused. And that's even very hard to talk about, because does he hit you? No. How does he abuse you again? Well, he's emotionally abusive, he's mentally abusive. But then, and I feel that's one of the biggest things as our culture, like Nigerian culture, hasn't addressed a lot of. So take for example, I do have a friend that the guy is just, I have no words for him, but just giving her STDs. I mean, that's recurring ones. That's to me, that seems like part of abuse. And when she told me that story, it was so heavy on my heart, and I really didn't know what to do. I cried with her. I was like, are you safe? It doesn't sound like you're safe. And at the end of the day, I just had to write. I wrote a poem about it, and I shared it with her, because that was the only way I could just help her, because there was nothing I could do, because they're still married, they're still together, and that's what she wants. And against better judgment, you just let them have what they have. And to me, as a friend, is the best I could support her with, because
I think you're right.
So
yeah, it is a difficult situation. I've been in situations where people have rang me and said they're being beaten, and I've said to them, listen, you shouldn't take this, you shouldn't, and these are educated women, right? And then at the end of the day, they go back to that situation. What do? You keep saying to them,
and then you become the enemy. They stop talking to you. They stop talking to you. They stop. Yeah.
But you can't stop talking to them. You understand? You can't just stop. You just have to be that friend. You have to take, and I think sometimes I say to people, I'm happy to take the blames that you throw on me. You can say it's me, I've done this, and I'm happy to do that, because it is extremely difficult. And I like what you said, the Onye girl said, right? For me, when I look at like domestic violence, physical, right, it's really horrible, but then they leave you with a scar in your hand that might heal, right? Or laser treatment, and they look after that, they heal, and they take it off. But when somebody physically every day tells you, I've had women that have spoken to, and they've told them every day, you're stupid, you're useless, you're this, you're this. These are like, it's like having like a woodpecker and a wood, right?
It decimates you, like reduces you to nothing. Like your essence is like gone. Yep, I've seen that.
That's the part you want to work like that. That's what part that we work on. Like when I talk about some programs we do, something we do that it's called Amor Merite. And what it means is love deserved, right? And what that means is we gather people in a room and we do like a motivational seminar, and we say to people, you are amazing. Like about affirmative words that make you rebuild yourself, and you start seeing those words become real for you. And then part of the thing we do in the UK is called the Kickstart with Okwuí. So when people go into a refuge, we give them a pack that when they walk into the refuge, they get a pack as a present. And in that pack, what it has is, it's like a box, a beautiful box. It's got toiletries that can last them for a week, but then more importantly, it's got signposts to where to seek help. So it has like stuff from National Domestic Violence Helpline that gives you where you can get pro bono lawyers, psychology, whatever. But what we've then done is, I was going to show you a picture, but I forgot to bring it. What we've then done is put postcards that motivates. So you put it on your wall. Every day you wake up and it says to you, you're beautiful, you're brave, you're whatever, you're this, you can achieve so. You look at it every single day that it becomes reality for you. Do you understand? And I think that's what people don't realize. Even just calling these people that think you're now their enemies and saying to them, I love you, I'll always be here for you, I think you're an amazing woman, it's not you. Or saying to the man, you're not the bad husband, it's just this person doing this to you. And then saying to them, you know, you can be okay. And people are also worried about saying, oh, how do I leave? I'm going to leave this marriage. Everybody's going to look at me. And then some people have no money where to go to, right? And we're lucky we live in the UK or in the States where maybe the government can help you. Imagine a woman that is a market woman in Nigeria who has no one to
have any help.
When she goes home to her family kicks her back and says, my dear, they don't leave marriage because her husband is beating you. And your grandmother tells you they used to beat me. And then your grandmother says, oh, they beat me more than they beat you before, you know? And it's sad because how do you reconcile this thing? I think for us as people, as workers in this thing, all we can do is keep supporting, keep sending words of encouragement, and keep saying to them, you're gonna be, I don't know, that's just what we need to do.
Like, I'm here, I'm listening to you. I mean, I don't mind becoming like an enemy of the states where you don't want to talk to me anymore. That's fine. But I want people to understand that I'm here, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna help you as much as you want to be helped. If you want a safe space, I'll provide it for you. If you want me to listen, I'll provide it for you. If you want me to call the cops, I'll call the cops for you. But I'm not gonna act on my own volition. But I'm just gonna listen to you, and then we can go from there. You know? Thanks for sharing that. And you know, like something you said when we had that phone call was, for women, that this affects a lot of people, not just women, also men as well, but we'll focus on the women one for now. And especially those that are educated, you know, it's sometimes very hard to like reconcile, because you expect that with education, you have, you know, power, you have your own, you know, self-determination that can make you, you know, not be in those kind of situations. But it's not as much as being in those kind of situations, but how have you been able to, you know, in your experience, just having a form of education or a form of income as a woman, is that something that can spell trouble, or that can also protect you, rather than spell trouble from, you know, being a victim? Or it doesn't even matter whether you're educated or not from what you've experienced?
I think for me, I've worked with both people, and I think having financial freedom somehow will help you better to actually seek help more than not seek help, right? Because, or like leave that situation. Because one of the things that a lot of women are worried about is when they leave, how are they going to pay their rent? How are they going to support these children that they leave the marriage with? Yeah. But then the other problem with being a successful 21st century woman is that you're meant to be strong, independent. You're supposed to be unique. You know, you're supposed to be educated and informed. You're good at everything. How do you feel at the marriage, right? How do you come out and say to the world, you know, all those times I walked in, my eyes were red, I didn't actually fall down the stairs, someone hit me. Is that thing about now saying I'm actually really weak, I'm vulnerable, I've been wearing a mask, I've been covering myself with something. How do you come and face that? I think that's what educated women struggle with, yeah? It's just like being in a bad relationship, right? Everyone's saying, oh, you've got to get married, you've got to get married, you've got to get married. So you're really stressed about this fact that you have to get married because the world leaves you and all your ovaries are like drying up. You've got to hurry up, you know, right? And then you wake up one day, and then that man they're saying to you, you've got to get married, he slaps you the first day, you're like, okay. He slaps you, buys you a rose, okay, maybe I have to try now. Hey, God, I have to get married. Well, I've sent out the ashwabis, I've done this, you know? And I think for the woman that is also independent financially, it's also very hard to leave that marriage, because you painted the perfect picture about how you're successful at a career, your marriage is top notch. Then yes, I'm everything. But then the truth is that you're not, because your voice is still not heard in that home. And sometimes as people, because when I talk about domestic violence, it's not just women, men also get affected, right? And sometimes the women that are financially free also, I'm not going to say no one creates a pathway for violence. Violence is wrong, full stop. Whether a woman says to you, you're silly 20 million times, you should never hit her, you should not emotionally abuse her. You should sit down and do dialogue. If you can't dialogue, you find mediation and you guys need to talk. If the woman is also being abusive, she needs to be controlled, right? But I think the other bit of it is that sometimes, especially in the UK, what we've also noticed is that because women tend to have better jobs in quotes, or get it to adjust the system a lot better, a lot of men will struggle because they believe the women become power intoxicated with their wealth, their financial freedom. And when you read the cases in America where there've been a lot of deaths in Africans, it's because, oh, I brought her from Nigeria. She didn't know anything. She did nursing, she did medicine, whatever.
She
She's
turned
making
out she turned her back on me.
I'm still the captain. I hit her, right? But the truth is that having money means that you can actually take that bold step, because you know that if you come out, you can pay your rent, you can take your kids to school. It gives you more strength. But again, sometimes it doesn't, because you're saying to the world, I'm perfect, I'm everything, I'm 21st century, I'm so independent. Yeah. What do you mean? I've never been hit before. How do I get married and tell people I've been beaten 1 million times? So it's really, I think either ways, it's not, having money will make it easier for you to like restart again. But money is also not always I don't know, it's just in between, really. I think for me, because I know the two worlds, I think giving people financial freedom will help them be more independent and survive more than anything else.
I agree. I feel like a woman should have a source of income. And I always believe in one family, one unit. Like, marry somebody that you can trust, and like, have a source of income. Have something to fall back on. Because something could happen to the man, for example. Even if he wasn't abusing you, he could die, and then you find out that your name is not on the wall. Something can happen to you and your kids as well. So I think having that form of something to fall on, and like Onyes talked about, like, some women, they might go in there with, just everything completely, they're all emotionally there. And then there's something they call grooming or even gaslighting, where your partner just starts, planting ideas in your head, making you seem like you're incompetent, and just grooming you and it's all still that part of emotional abuse. And it gets to a point where you're even like a shadow of yourself. You're not who you were before. And then I think in that situation, it will be very, very sad. I think what can mitigate those kind of instances is to have people around you that can always remind you, who you are, the values you have in you. And I think it still goes back to having somebody to talk to, having somebody to listen to you, even if you can move, like act on what they're talking to you about, but being that listening ear can really help with that. Now, finally, before we move on to the last piece of this conversation, for those that are listening, for those that are stuck in this kind of situation, what would you like to say to them, Chichi?
I think what I want to say to them is, it's not your fault. Yeah, all you asked for was to be loved. That's all you asked for. And no matter how bad the situation is, you need to remember that for you to survive it, you're unbreakable, you're unstoppable, you've got so much strength. And that's why I think people need to realize you haven't done anything wrong. All you asked was, I want love. That's all you asked for, right? And all you need to do is find help if you need to find help. Flee if you have to flee. But don't sit down and say it's going to get better. You've got to act on it. You've got to make sure that you're making an effort to save yourself. And the other thing I also want to say is, also think about the children in terms of the damage that is being done to them, more than the damage that you think you're trying to avoid. Because for me, I want to grow up in a home where there's love in the home. People are not fighting all the time and breaking bottles, because then that also trains that child to think violence is normal, right? Because I always say to people, how do you say, oh, this boy is so bad, he hits his wife? Who brought him up? Is a woman that brought him up. So what are we doing wrong as women, as mothers, and as sisters? What are we doing wrong? Would you ever hit your mother? You know what I mean? Will you ever hit your mother? Your mother's like always most people's role model. So why would you do that to another person's child? So all I want to say to them is, you're strong, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're unbreakable. You can survive every situation, because as women, as men, we are built to survive. And that's all I'm going to say. Just remember, just claim the love you deserve. That's just it. Just love yourself more than anything else, and realize that you can be anything you want to be.
I like that. And remember that a lot can happen to you. Like, your mind can be changed, not because of what you become, but if you keep hearing the same, negative things every day, you might become a caricature of what you used to be. So find godly people around you. Find people you can open up to and talk to. And I really do wish you the very best. Now, I think a big component here that we forgot to mention is what started all of this. And when I heard about you, when I heard a story, it reminded me of something Abraham Lincoln said. It was, all that I am or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. your mom has been such a critical component of your life, and condolences. I know you lost your mom a few years ago, and but her legacy still lives on. So, just in a few words, what was it like? Like, what was your mom to you? Like what was your mom to you, and what has her influence? Like, what has it done to you as a person?
So I'll say my mom was like, I don't know, what's the word to use it? I always say to people, my mom was my life, she was my love, and she was my rock. That's how I describe her, right? And I'm not gonna say was, because I always say she is my rock, she is my life, and she's my love, right? And for me, she was strict, extremely strict. She wasn't like pampering me. She was so strict. I used to call her Dodden Barracks as a child, right? And I used to be so scared of her, right? And even as an adult, I feared her a lot, right? But for me, there's one thing this woman said to me was, you can be anything you set your mind to be. You just have to take that step. And for my mom, hard work was not like, like how some parents are like, oh, you can try and work, maybe it will work, maybe it will not work. Hard work for her was a must. And she brought me up on her own. That's the truth. My parents got separated when I was 12. And she's brought me, my brother, my sister up on her own. My father was a big part of our life. So he wasn't someone that, he was there the whole time. But the main bit about like making sure you obeyed, my dad is like the nice daddy that pampers the kids and does everything else. My mom will say to you, I don't really care. This is my house, my rules. You obey everything. My both parents have actually been there instrumental, although we weren't under the same roof, but we were like always together all the time. Like we did everything together, right? And that's why I keep saying to people, I don't understand what it means by people beating their wives. My parents married at that point didn't work, but nobody hit anybody else. Nobody was abusing anybody. They just went their separate ways and they brought up their kids really happily. So I don't understand how people do that, right? And for me, losing my mom was like, I don't know, that was like the hardest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And I don't know how I'm going to survive it. But I guess every day I just wake up and I remember what she said to me. You have to keep going. And my mother used to say to me, tough times never last, but tough people do.
Tough people do.
And she used to say to me that you have to always pull up your trousers and keep going. And I think those things have actually kept me going, because when I hear this, oh boy, I can't do this, I can't do that, my mother will say to me, but my friend, pick up yourself and go do it, right? And I think those things were really like things that have kept me going. And for every dream that we had, I'm still trying to live them. I'm still trying to fulfill them. And I'm still trying to keep going, because no one teaches you death. Death is like something that, I don't know how to describe. The pain is indescribable, right? Because you feel like someone is constantly holding you down and stabbing you constantly with a knife, and you're bleeding and it's so painful, right? But I think at the end of the day, she gave me the wings to fly, She taught me I could be everything. And so when I feel like giving up, I just remember, oh, she's watching me. I know she's not here, but she's actually watching me. Like right now, I'm sure she's here just saying, this girl, what's she talking about? What's she saying? But that's the truth, is it's just one person's inspiration that keeps you going. And I think for each and every of us, we must find a mentor. We must have our own Black Panda or something that helps us going. And our own Wakanda world.
Very important. Yeah.
I think that she's been like my inspiration. She's like seen me through everything, through thick and thin, illnesses and different things. And I don't know, it just keeps going. Anyway, I can't talk about her every day. So I'm just gonna stop.
I can imagine. How long has it been since she died?
So today's 23 months. 23 months now. Yeah. And I'll say it's the hardest 23 months. There's no, like people always say, how do you survive grief? And I say to people, grief comes to people in different ways. Yeah. There's no surviving this thing. It's just, there's no, people always say to you, oh, it's going to be well. I'm like, it's never going to be well. Well, your life is never going to be the same, because the best part of you is gone. And especially when you really love someone so much. But then you have to always look and say again, what would they want me to do? Would they want me to be happy, or would they want me to be sad? And when I remember initially people say to me, oh, but she wants you to be happy. I'm like, no. If she wanted me to be happy, she'll be here, right? And I was angry. And I think you go through different phases. You go through the phase of, first of all, you go through the phase of shock. For me, I went through shock. Then I went through being really angry. Angry for the fact that I felt like, oh, why would this happen? Why would this happen? I had so many questions and so many different things I had to answer. And then I went through the phase of realizing this is really true. I think sometimes I still wake up and think, wait, listen, she's going to open the door and she's going to come home. Do you understand?
Oh,
and it sounds plus, because that I think that all the time, and I think if that ever happened, I'll be the happiest person on earth. And you know, like how you watch movies and they say, "Oh,
In
the ghost is
heaven, in heaven.
I'm not gonna be stressed, you know. I'm not gonna be right away from the ghost if it came down. But it's just difficult. But I think also, grief and death also helps you to realize how much in this life you've got to give more. And I think sometimes I do this really weird thing when I think about where will be the worst place I want to see myself right now, and I say to myself, imagine me being 6 feet under in a grave. That would be really bad because I won't have achieved anything I need to achieve. And I think that's one thing that really drives me also, like in the past 23 months. And that's what's really helped me to keep going. I always say to myself, the day you should stop dreaming, the day you should stop working is when life is all over.
Yeah.
You've got to make the most of every single day. Because once you lose someone that you love so much, you think about all the things you haven't done. All the holidays you guys planned that you never got to because you were too busy. Different things that you didn't do. The number of I love.
Focus, like it snaps you back into focus, and then you focus on what really matters.
You know, and then all of a sudden you realize that, listen, life is all about, this is all vanity, right? You've got to make the most of it.
Nothing.
You know? And I think these days when I want to do stuff, I just do it. If I feel like I need to go skydiving today, I do skydiving, right? And I think it's, although deep down I'm like really sad and broken, I know that I have to do more. And I know that maybe that crack in my heart will never mend. But I know that to keep her proud, I have to keep going, right? But I say to people, cry if you want to cry, shout if you have to shout, do whatever you want to do, but never keep the pain inside because you will explode, right? And that's it for me. I think grief is just horrible. I don't know, it's really terrible.
Yeah. I like what you said about, you know, how when you lose the grief of a loved one, it makes you understand, you know, the importance of life. And also you can use it in two different ways. You can become bitter and sad about it and, you know, just stop moving. You're living, but you're just barely existing. Or you can just use that and, you know, focus on what really matters. And I'm a huge fan of the latter one, which is, you know, just focusing on what really matters. Just keep going. And then there's a school of thought behind that, and it's called mortality motivation, where your motivation comes from a place of, you know, you've lost something. There's something happened to you, but then you're taking that part of you and you just keep moving on. You know, and I'm sure your mom is very proud of you. I'm sure she's very, very proud of you. And yes, she's proud of you. And so as far as, you know, coping, what would you say was one thing that helped you with coping with grief? Try for those that might still be, you know, going through that process.
I think what helped me cope was remembering the good times, right? And the very good times. But I think in between, you're going to remember all the bad times also. But remembering the good times, that's one. Two was focusing on what dreams we had to build that I hadn't done. So I put myself into, like, it's not nice to bury yourself into your work because after work, you'll feel empty again. But I think remembering what dreams you guys had, remembering the very good times, remembering all the laughters. And I'm not coping well, right? But because I'm human, I'm going to be honest, I'm not really coping well. But I think what I'm also doing is remembering that I have to drag my feet from day one to the next day and keep going. And I know that if I like completely shattered or broke down and couldn't do anything, then I wouldn't be able to like achieve all the things we had set out to do. The other thing that's also really helped me was also being in the company of other people who had also suffered grief. Yeah. And I remember going to like a session, like her bereavement session, right? Not like a session of different people that had lost people talking. And in my mind, I'm like, these people don't understand what I'm saying. They don't understand what I'm doing. So what I've done now more than anything else is talk to individuals who have lost someone and support individuals. Like, funny enough, on Thursday I had a clinic and this woman walked into my clinic like a new patient and she was really angry, you know, like very angry, just lashing out. You're asking her questions, she's lashing out. Oh, that's in my medical record, whatever, you know, she's lashing out at you. But I had read in her records that she had lost her boyfriend had been ill. And then she was lashing out to me. Like she's just completely lashing out, right? And then the next thing we then ended up talking about grief, right? And I think that really helped not just her, but also me, because we then realized, oh, there's this thing you guys have in common. How do you support each other? How do you get to the next? And I said to them, the only way you get to the next day is by actually waking up every day, dragging even if it means you've got to like get a bulldoze and bulldoze yourself up, yeah? drag yourself, say to yourself, what would I achieve today? And I always remember, I say to myself sometimes, what would my mom have wanted me to do? And my mom is someone that, for me, she's someone that actually was a planner, was very organized. And she used to say to me, like, randomly, if I wasn't here, what would you do, right? Or she says to me, oh, you can't tell me if I was never here, you wouldn't do this. And she used to say those words, like, randomly, like, since when I was a kid. And I think those words actually helped me keep going. And some of the words she used to say about how, my friend, just pull up your trousers and keep going. And it's something, there's something that, you know, she used to say that a lot. And so times when I was like so dejected and down and I couldn't do anything, I remembered them. And I'll say something else that's really strange that's kept me going. My mother used to love to write notes to people a lot, yeah? And like, I will, because we used to live together, and she'll go shopping and she'll leave me a note. I'm like, my darling daughter, or whatever, I've just gone shopping. If you're looking for, I used to be like, where are you, mommy? Call you on the phone. She used to call me all the time. We used to talk like 101 million times a day. And when I was trying to get stuff ready for the funeral, I saw this note she'd written years ago, and she talked about losing someone that you, because my mom writes a lot, losing someone that you really love. And she said about how you've got to come to realization on time and you have to keep going, right? And I think those words at those points meant something to me, and they meant, you know, I'm not always going to, one day I'm going to be somewhere else, but I know you will survive, right? And I think she's got me ready. Like, she wasn't unwell or anything, but there were so many hints she had given me over the years that were going to get me ready. But to be honest with you, more when it happened, I forgot all those things. I was so shattered. I refused to do anything, you know. I just refused to, like, you know, do a lot of stuff. I just kept her memory, her face. And I think sometimes, this sounds a little bit crazy, sometimes you just have to speak to them, right? It might be saying, oh, mommy, I know you'll be laughing now.
I've heard that before.
That helps you.
I've heard that before. I've heard that before.
Like crazy. For Nigerians, they're going to say that you're hallucinating or something. But you know,
no, I've heard that before.
That has really, really helped me. And then I've tried to like be normal, just think like, oh, she's gone somewhere, she's watching over me, so I can keep going. So I think for anybody that is grieving right now, I'm going to say to them, the pain is never going to go away, but you've got to remember that loved person. I remember what they would have wanted you to do. And if we dig deep down, they want us to be happy. That's what they want us to do. And if we're Christians and we believe that there's a better place than this place, then the only way to get to that better place is through that. Yeah. And we have to remember that they're not in this world. They're not suffering pain. They're not wondering about winter and summer and autumn and different things. And
bills. Yeah. I like that. I think one of the things I heard about grieving that I always hold on to is time doesn't heal your wound. You know, as a Christian, that concept of time, there's nothing magical about time that makes the memories go away. But time is a revelation of what God can use, or how God can use that pain and that hurt for his glory, you know. So just wanted to throw that out there. Finally,
I want to say something. Thank you so much for letting me talk about this. Yeah. Normally I'll completely break down and start crying when I talk about this, right? So
but it's okay. It's okay to cry, actually.
No, I'm saying to you, this is the first time I've actually spoken about it. And actually, rather than feel like crying, I'm actually smiling inside my heart. And I'm saying, I have learned a lot from this. I'm being honest with you. Like, I don't want to get emotional, but that's the truth. I'm actually smiling about it. And I'm saying, wow, did I just say that about this situation? Thank you. This is my first time talking about it properly. And it's really good. Thank you. I needed that.
Thanks for sharing that. Thank you. I'm really honored. Thank you. And so finally, Sturgeon, what's work like? And I can imagine that you work in a male-dominated field. How do you do it?
Oh God, it's so now, you know, before Trauma and Orthopaedic Surgeon, because I'm a resident, right? So I've got 2 more years to finish. It's male-dominated, right? But then now we're having more females. Like at the moment, I work with 2 female doctors, surgeons. They're really super awesome, right? Like it's a good thing. Like, but it's still male-dominated. But the truth is that I always say to people, everyone thinks you're weaker, but the truth is that the men actually support you. The ones I've worked with, I've never met anyone that pull you down for being a woman. Instead, they try and encourage you. Sometimes people feel like, oh, is she going to be able to do that? But then they're more supportive than anything else. And it's more a lot about teamwork. People I work with now are really awesome. I've been really lucky with jobs I've done. People are like really like all buddy. So that's fun. And my whole team is at the moment is like really cool. But I think sometimes, no matter what you do about it, like doing orthopedic surgery is like carpentry. Sometimes you're carrying a leg and you're like, oh my Lord, I can't carry this thing for too long. And sometimes it's hard, but generally it's been good. That's the honest truth. Generally it's been really good.
Good. Well, good. I like that. I work in a male-dominated field too, and I've used that for my advantage. A lot of my mentors are males. I've learned that as women, sometimes we don't know how to speak for ourselves. We don't know how to advocate for ourselves. We tend to like get stuck in our mentality of, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not perfect enough. Meanwhile, the guy is just, raking in all the medals. So I've learned to like think like a man. Oh yeah, because we're probably doing as much, if not even more than most, men that we work with. But there's a way we just hold ourselves. I don't know, maybe it's just the whole female male dichotomy in our cultural society. I don't know. But yeah, I've used male to my advantage. Like I have some of them as my mentors. They help me, and so I think that kind of helps to, in a way, understand that I do deserve some things, and I got here because I worked myself my butt off to get here, and yeah, I think I can do it. So thanks for sharing that. We've explored a lot today. We've explored your initiative. We talked about domestic violence and the cultural implication of that. We also talked about your mom. We talked about your passions as well. Are there any final words you have before I round off this session, Chichi?
Well, the only thing I'm gonna say is I believe a lot in I read a lot of quotes and they really keep me going, and that's something I recommend to a lot of people. One of the quotes I really love is something Oprah says about be the change you want to be, you want to see happen. The world is not going to change. Your country is not going to change for you. You got to be that change for the country. So if there are things that you're passionate about, today is the day to do it. Yeah. Like I always knew I wanted to design clothes. So I started designing clothes and I just do it. Right. And although it looks as if I'm doing so many things, you can't do it all on your own. You've got to have a good team. You've got to recognize that your team is very important. Like the team I work with in London, I'm just going to give a shout out to them. There's Dara, there's Chukwudi, there's Wamaka.
Hi, Dara.
There's so many of
Hi,
them.
everyone.
The Nigerian team, there's Uju, there's Carol. I don't even know. There's Auntie S. There's so many people that I work with, right? And they're like a big, I don't know, they're a big inspiration to me. There's Chiamaka in London. There's so many people. There's also Cynthia, different people I work with, and I keep saying to people, I cannot do it without them, right? Even the ones I don't remember your names. There's so many of you guys, Lorenzo, different people, and Jenny, so many people I work with that I'm like, I couldn't have achieved half of what I've done today without you guys. And credit just doesn't go to me, it goes to our entire team, right? And what I'm going to say is build a good team, find people that are dream chasers like you, find people that believe in the same goals that you believe in. And then the world will just be under your feet. That's the truth. You can do anything you want to do with the right mindset, with the right attitude, and with the right team. And I'm going to say to you more, you're now part of our team for featuring us. I've been so nice. Bucci, I forgot to say thank you to him also. And all I'm going to say is chase your dreams, run to them, crawl to them, just do it. You just have to keep going, right? Don't let the dreams become another dream that you're going to take back when it's all over. That time when they say time of death is this is all done. So let today be your change. Today that you've heard what we've said, what I've said, let today be your change. And it's okay to fail also, right? I'm sure I've had so many failures in my life also. It's not always been success. But for me, failure and success is the same thing. So it doesn't make any difference. If I fail, I learn from my mistakes, I keep going, right? Just pick up yourself, kick up I can't say it's different, kick up all the T's from your cans and keep going. So good luck, everyone. And thank you so much more. This has been an amazing experience. Now I know what Facebook Live works like. You think, God,
it's very phenomenal. I like that. And I don't want to sound like a broken tambourine or a broken horn, but I like what you said about chasing your dreams. Live life every day like it's your last day on earth. Chase it. Chase your dreams. Put everything you have into whatever you're doing, whatever your hands find to do, and just give it your 100% as much as you can. And yes, build a good team around you that can support you. Bring people around you that can remember your dreams as well, so they can always remind you in case you're trailing away from there. And and be consistent in whatever you're doing. Consistency is the key. If you want to achieve something, be consistent at it. If you say you're gonna be somewhere 6 o'clock every day doing a particular show, be there. Come hail, come fire, come thunderstorm. And you heard it from Chichi. She's told you about her passion and how she's able to make things work. I think another thing we forgot to talk about is even for people like us, like those things we tend to do, and people look at, how can you do this? Don't you, don't you get tired doing these kind of things? It's like, no, it's my passion. Like, I wake up every day, I'll still do this in the bottom of an eye because I have that energy. And I find that if I don't engage myself and do these kind of things, I don't do very well emotionally. Like, I get more depressed when I'm idle. That's just me. I have to keep moving, not in a way that stresses me out. Like, you have to find ways to give back to yourself and not get stressed out. But find out that thing you're passionate about and go for it. Give it your 100%. Have mentors around you. Have people that can sponsor you. Have people that believe in your dream and build that dream team. And so, thank you so much for reinforcing that. Anyways, this was the show, guys. This was the More Sibyl podcast. Check the website www.moresibyl.com. And there's so many other episodes on there as well. There's also a new link on the website that takes you to previously recorded More Sibyl Facebook live shows. The current episode this week was with Damilola, who escaped from Oman. She was trafficked to Oman under the pretext of finding work. I'm trying to raise some form of money for her to help support her dream now that she's back to Nigeria. If you'd like to donate to her to help with her tuition and all that, please get in touch with me. You can also listen to her episode to hear her story of how she was able to survive, that ordeal. Anyways, thank you all for coming on the show. Thank you so much once more, Chichi. I really appreciate you.
And thank you so much, Mom. I'm so grateful. Thank you. This has been so nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, bye everyone, and see you guys around.
See you later.